There's a moment when pretending becomes easier than explaining. I learned that at 19, walking alone on a dusty village road where everyone thought they knew me. My name is Ayaan. I live at the edge of a small village surrounded by wheat fields and quiet rooftops that catch the evening light. People say I'm calm, easygoing, never bothered by anything. They don't know that I started pretending not to care the day something important quietly slipped away from me, and little by little, the pretending stopped being an act. Every morning in the village feels the same. The air carries the smell of soil and tea, and old men sit outside the chai stall before the sun fully rises. I used to join my friends there, laughing without thinking. But these days, I arrive late and leave early. Nobody asks why. Maybe they assume I'm busy. Maybe they think I grew up. My house stands near a narrow path leading to the fields. From the rooftop, I can see almost everything. Kids flying kites, women hanging clothes, goats moving slowly like they have nowhere urgent to be. It's peaceful, but sometimes the silence presses too close. There was a time when I cared too much about small things. Messages that didn't come. Plans that changed without me. Words people said casually but stayed with me for weeks. It made me tired. So one day I decided to act different. When someone forgot to call me, I shrugged. When plans happened without me, I smiled and said it's fine. Slowly, people stopped noticing that anything could hurt me. At first, it felt powerful, like I finally learned how to protect myself. But protection has a strange side effect. The less you show, the less anyone looks. In the evenings, I walk past the fields just before sunset. The sky turns soft orange, and the wind carries dust that settles on my clothes. Sometimes I see my childhood friends playing cricket near the canal. They wave at me, but it's a casual wave, the kind you give someone who's already halfway gone. I don't blame them. I was the one who started saying I don't mind to everything. There's one memory that keeps coming back. A year ago, there was someone I used to talk to every day. She lived 2 streets away, always sitting on her rooftop with a notebook in her hand. We never called it anything serious. Just conversations about small things, the heat, the noise, the way time felt slow in a village. One evening, she told me she might leave for the city to study. I remember nodding like it meant nothing. Good for you, I said, keeping my voice flat. Inside, something tightened, but I didn't let it show. I thought if I acted like I didn't care, it would hurt less when she left. She looked at me for a long moment that day, like she was waiting for something honest. I gave her a smile instead. After that, our talks became shorter. Then they stopped completely. People assumed we drifted apart naturally. Maybe they were right. When someone shows no reaction, others stop trying to reach deeper. Life in the village kept moving. Festivals came and went. New rumors replaced old ones. I helped my father in the fields, learning how to work quietly beside him. He never asked many questions. Maybe he saw the change in me, maybe he didn't. Sometimes at night, when everyone sleeps, I sit on the rooftop and listen to distant sounds, a motorbike passing, dogs barking somewhere far away. The sky looks wide enough to hold every thought I avoid during the day. That's when I wonder when exactly pretending became real. I remember a day when my friend Bilal invited me to a gathering near the banyan tree. Everyone was laughing, sharing stories from school days. I listened but felt slightly outside the circle, like a visitor who arrived late. Someone joked about how I never react to anything anymore. Ayaan doesn't care about anyone, they said, laughing. I laughed too. It was easier than correcting them. Over time, people stopped expecting emotional reactions from me. When someone shared good news, I nodded politely. When someone complained, I gave short replies. The more I behaved this way, the more natural it felt. I thought I was becoming stronger. But strength without connection feels hollow, like a room with no windows. One afternoon, I passed by Sanaa's house and saw her gate locked. A neighbor told me she had already moved to the city weeks ago. I felt nothing. No sharp sadness, no sudden regret, just a quiet emptiness that surprised me. That night, I tried to remember what our conversations felt like, but the details were fading. It scared me a little. I used to think pretending would protect my feelings. Instead, it slowly erased them. The village evenings grew longer after that. I started taking longer walks alone, watching how the fields changed color as seasons passed. Children who once followed me around now ran toward someone else. It wasn't intentional distance, just a natural shift. One day, my younger cousin asked me, why you always look like nothing matters?" I didn't know how to answer. Because at some point, nothing really did. That realization came quietly. No dramatic moment, no loud argument. Just a slow awareness that I had built walls so carefully that even I couldn't see past them anymore. I began noticing small things I used to ignore, the way my mother paused before speaking to me like she wasn't sure how much I would respond. The way my friends stopped sharing personal stories around me because I never reacted deeply. They weren't wrong. I had trained them to expect distance. One evening, I climbed to the rooftop earlier than usual. The sky looked heavy with clouds, and the wind felt colder. I sat there thinking about the version of myself who once cared too openly, who felt embarrassed when someone ignored him, who waited for messages with quiet hope. I used to believe that boy was weak. Now I wasn't so sure. The turning point wasn't dramatic. It happened during a small village wedding. Music played softly, children ran between chairs, and people talked over plates of food. I stood near the edge, watching everyone. Sanaa's younger brother approached me and said, "She asked about you last week." I nodded. Okay. He waited for a bigger reaction. When none came, he walked away. That moment stayed with me the entire night. Not because I felt strong for staying calm, but because I realized I truly didn't feel anything anymore. The pretending had become real. Walking back home under dim streetlights, I noticed how quiet the village felt after celebrations ended. Doors closed, lights faded, and only the sound of my footsteps remained. I thought about all the times I chose silence over honesty. Maybe people would have stayed closer if I had spoken differently. Maybe not. There's no way to know. On the rooftop, I sat until late. The air smelled like rain. For the first time in months, I tried to let myself feel something, regret, maybe. But emotions don't return just because you call them back. They come slowly, like distant echoes. I realized then that pretending not to care doesn't erase pain. It reshapes it into something quieter, something harder to recognize. You don't break loudly. You just become distant from everything that once mattered. The next morning, nothing changed outside. The same dusty roads, the same tea stall chatter, the same field stretching toward the horizon. But inside, there was a small awareness growing, not a solution, not a lesson. Just a quiet recognition that I had drifted further than I intended. Sometimes I wonder if people notice the difference between someone who's calm and someone who stopped feeling deeply. Maybe they do, but they don't know how to ask. These days, I still walk the same paths. I still answer "it's fine" when people ask simple questions. But there are moments when I pause longer than usual, watching the sky shift colors above the village rooftops. Moments when I almost say something honest, then let it fade. Maybe one day I'll learn how to care again without feeling exposed. Or maybe this quiet distance is just who I've become. I don't know yet. The story doesn't end with a big change. It just continues slowly, like footsteps on a road that doesn't rush anywhere. If this story felt like your own, you're not alone here. Subscribe for stories that understand quiet pain.